Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. We've talked about hypnotherapy before, working with a hypnotist, but we've never really dug deeper into this aspect of it and how it can support you with even physical things you want to do. Let's say you play a sport. Let's say you're very active, but you're not achieving those goals. It can help you with that as well, which I'm kind of surprised is new territory for me. I know it's beneficial in many different areas, stopping those limiting beliefs, helping people improve their weight goals, even stopping smoking. But we're going to look at the physical aspect today with somebody that helps people with this all the time. He gives you the unconscious edge because we are tapping into your unconscious self, your subconscious. Dennis Marciniak joins us again here on the program today. How you doing?
I'm great. Happy to be here. A little bit rainy here in Los Angeles, but nevertheless, a good day.
As I hear it, you guys need the rain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. Hopefully not so much that it creates other problems, but definitely need it.
It's delicate balance. One side you have fire, one side you have mudslide. Give us a center, the sweet spot.
Right.
When we talk about getting hypnotized to improve your physical performance, is that also, let's say you want to get better at the gym. You just can't get yourself motivated. You go, but you're not really pushing it as hard as you really know you could or should. Is there the potential that you've got a blockage there within your subconscious and hypnotherapy could help you with that?
Yes. Basically, sometimes we're dealing with procrastination, and it's, again, the subconscious mind is constantly trying to protect us. And some of those protection programs, so to speak, that are in our mind were developed when we were very young, and they, again, served the purpose at the time, helped us get through a sticky situation, but they may not be serving us anymore. So we come up with our New Year's resolution, and one of those resolutions is to get off the couch and become a little bit more active. And consciously, there's motivation there. We've understood intellectually the benefits of getting some exercise or getting some movement in your life. And yet something inside of you is still, not totally committed. And that could be for various reasons. It could have been some negative experience that you had as a child where you were injured, let's say. I mean, even looking at professional athletes, when they go through an injury or possibly a surgery, a lot of times, the surgery fixes the physical ailment, but there's something mentally that lingers that doesn't allow them to completely have confidence in their body's ability to perform. So there's the need to get over that psychological block. So it's not so much a question of putting your fears out of the way. It's a question of integrating those fears within the whole picture, and by being able to get into the subconscious or the unconscious mind, those negative experiences can be more integrated into the bigger picture, so that things balance out. Obviously, if an athlete had that injury and he had surgery, there's a reason to have some hesitancy or some trepidation. It's not, throw that out the window. Sometimes our fears serve a purpose. It helps us, be a little bit more aware of our surroundings at night when we're, going to the bank teller machine and taking out money. I mean, fear plays a role, but it's a matter of it being integrated within the whole picture and getting a balance on it.
Now, we've talked before how there could be things from your past that are in your subconscious, and that's holding you back. Would it be reasonable to think, let's say somebody wants to go to the gym, wants to lose weight, Their intentions are all there, and they find it's not happening or they can't stick to it. Could it even be a situation that they have fear of being judged because of something from their childhood? Maybe a parent said something to them. Now they're afraid to, be in shorts and a T-shirt in the gym. Or let's say they weighed a lot back in the day. They lost that weight. They want to maintain their situation, but there's a block because I'm never going to be what I really want to be based on that stuff from the past. And then they come up with excuses, self-sabotage, even just going to the gym.
Those are all very, very valid statements and concerns. And, for myself, even when I'm working with someone who's looking to lose weight, let's say, somehow when we talk about language and the energy of language, even the expression lose weight, it's kind of
negative. It's a negative.
Yeah, it's a negative. Absolutely.
Oh, how about this one? This is my favorite one. I need to go on a diet.
Right.
How positive is that? Not.
Yeah, and again, if you're just dealing with the conscious mind, that has read the various books about health and diets and ultimately have tried many different diets, you kind of go on this roller coaster ride with highs and lows. With our body image and our self-image, and I find this especially true with women. They've done a number of studies where they've shown that in terms of self-talk, especially amongst women, people are pretty brutal with themselves in terms of how they see their body and how they relate to their body. So there's an element of for lack of a better way of saying it, self-love. My sense as I approach and as I understand the subconscious mind, accentuate the positive rather than focusing on losing something. Focuses on gaining your health, gaining your vitality, gaining your ability to express yourself in a physical way. To me, my body is part of my self-expression, and it's kind of an interesting thing. If you think about it for a second, if you look at somebody who's a little bit down, maybe they're a little depressed or just they had a rough day, just in terms of the way you carry your body, you might be shoulders slumped, you might have your head forward, your walking gait is slow and not energized, and that we can recognize, but we don't understand that the physical leads to the mental also. So that by picking your head up and putting your shoulders back and walking in a confident way and getting outside and energizing yourself, all of a sudden that affects your mood. It kind of works both ways. The emotional, mental happenings of the day can have your physical stature turn one way or the other. And if you catch that and you understand that, you can also change your physical stature and impact and affect your mood, your perception of yourself. So when I'm dealing with someone with regards to, let's say, weight issues or body image issues really is what it's all about. It really has to do with connecting with your own inner resources, because you have the ability, you have the essence, you have the love, the joy of being alive to tap into. And as you start to tap into that and accentuate the positive, you start to see a big difference in terms of how you perform. There's a long-standing story coming out of the Vietnam War where there was a prisoner of war. His name was George Hall, and he was on a reconnaissance mission, and he was shot down and became a prisoner in the Vietnam War. And he was confined to, I think it was like a 4.5 foot square cage. It was only 5 foot tall, so he couldn't even stand in this cage. And as the story goes, and I've seen interviews of this gentleman's son who had heard directly from his father his story, but he was kind of a duffer golfer in his civilian life, and he would visualize himself on the green daily. He would do this practice of visualizing him hitting a golf ball straight and right down the middle of the fairway, hitting it on the green, making the putt. So much so that for him it was kind of like a connection to freedom and connection to his old life. But when he finally was released as a prisoner and finally got to the golf course, I think he his normal score was high 90s, hundreds, and when he got to the golf course, he golfed in the high 70s, and this is with no actual physical practice, but just through visualization. Our muscle fibers respond in the same way, and he was able to not perfect, but improve his golf scores tremendously. In the late 50s and up to like the early 70s, the Russian women's gymnastics team really dominated that sport in the Olympics and the World Championships and so forth. And it wasn't until towards the late 60s or early 70s that somehow it was understood that they put 50% of their time was placed on visualizing their sport. I mean, if you're a high jumper, just visualizing the steps that you're going to take, the launch angle, so forth, and we can perfect our sport, our activity, through the use of visualization. And in hypnosis, combined with visualization, you're in a more receptive place to it just by observation that we see ourselves and we can see the improvement and gain confidence in that way. So it's rather extraordinary, actually.
Is it maybe a product of manifestation where it's believed that what you think becomes your reality? So with those players, or even the man who was golfing, he was visualizing what it would be like, and it's almost as if it's already done. But like you said, that's 50% of it. The other 50% is the mindset.
Correct. The subconscious mind doesn't really process the negative very well. So, I mean, if I tell you don't think of a pink elephant, I mean, immediately you think of a pink elephant. I mean, you had no intention, nothing on your mind had to do with pink elephants, but all of a sudden I say, don't think of a pink elephant. You have to grab the pink elephant first to then try to push it down. Mm-hmm. And it's really a funny approach, actually. So I used to coach youth sports, especially baseball, but basketball also. And a lot of times I would call a timeout. That I've got a young 11 or 12-year-old pitcher on the mound, and he's starting to fall apart because a few people have gotten hits off of him or scored a few runs. And I would call a timeout. It wasn't so much to tell him it wasn't a strategy session. It wasn't like, throw the curveball more or something like that. It was just take a moment, take a deep breath, collect yourself. You got this, just throw to the catcher's glove, just allow him the chance to regroup, allow him the chance to refocus on something positive. You've got a struggling hitter, and it's not like you go up and somebody from the crowd is yelling, "Don't strike out." Well, I mean, as soon as you say "don't strike out," your whole focus is on striking out, and you swing at the next high pitch. So it's put it in the positive. Look for something that you like. Hit it to center field, or you can even do like an assumptive they call, like in sales, they call it assumptive close. After you smash this into center field, I want you to really look at that first base coach because he might send you to second. So you've planted this positive image in the young hitter's mind that he's going to get a hit. And, the approach is so much more constructive than telling him, don't do this or don't do that or avoid doing this. When I coach basketball, sometimes you get a decent lead, but you're getting into that final 3 minutes of the game. And the tendency is, we're just going to kind of shut it down. We're going to use the clock. We're going to, just somehow abandon the process that had gotten us this lead in the first place. And you start to play defensively. You start to play cautiously. You start to play in a way of, it's like, don't mess up, as opposed to, let's bring this home. Let's continue the energy, the focus that we've had throughout this game, and let's just bring this on home. So it's a subtle thing with regards to language, but it's really again, change your state of mind, and you'll change your outcome.
Is this part of NLP, neuro linguistics programming?
Yeah, it's very much of it. Grindler and Bandler were two gentlemen that studied a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and a hypnotherapist. And the focus was on not people who were depressed, let's say. They focused on looking at people who overcame their depression. And so the focus was on the solution rather than the problem. And so in that, they found, number one, they found out that not that it was so much not known, but they underscored the importance of rapport, for example. Like in sales, for example, people use NLP, and a lot of it has to do with building rapport. So much so that there's an element called mirroring and matching, where if you're in front of someone, it's like, in a sense, you're almost going to copy them, not in such an overt way that they could take it negatively, but in a way that I'm at your level. If you go into a courtroom, for example, you've got the judge sitting up high, and there's a reason for that. You're establishing authority by having that physical position. So if you're selling to someone, you're wanting to be on the same level as them, and so you're going to kind of mirror and match their cadence, their mood, just the whole aspect of it, in terms of again, just gaining someone's trust and confidence, and then from there, you use your sales abilities to express whatever it is your product or service is. But yeah, NLP is kind of interesting because and it really came out of hypnosis. And often people will use it together, and then sometimes just NLP, because you don't have to put someone into a trance. But we somehow, in terms of our experiences, we process things in a different way. So if I were to ask you to, let's say, look at a traumatic event, for example, and I can do this with someone even with their eyes open, or you can have them close their eyes, whichever is more comfortable. But I'll say, just picture, visualize, or imagine that traumatic experience. And where is it that you see it? And sometimes people will say that it's right in front of them. Sometimes it'll be a little bit off to the side. The most amazing thing is that in your own visualization or imagination of looking at that traumatic experience, by moving the placement of that experience in your perception, you actually change your relationship to that experience. So if I have someone and he says, I have a traumatic experience and I see it right in front of me, I'd say, well, move it back 20 feet and let me know how it feels to you. Because we want to use all of our senses. How does it feel? What does it look like to you? What are there any sounds that you're associating with that particular experience? Any smells? Any tastes? So, I mean, I can either move that experience back further and further and further so that you can't even see it anymore. And then I'll ask the person, what's your perception now? And it's changed. It's remarkable.
It's amazing.
Or another situation you could do is, instead of having it go further and further back, put it behind you. Just picture, visualize, imagine that experience is behind you. And now it's further behind you. And it's so far behind you that you can't even see it anymore. I mean, when we drive, obviously we have the windshield in front of us, we have side view mirrors, we have a rear view mirror. And the rear view mirror is important. I mean, sometimes it's life-saving. And you see, I remember one time I was on the freeway and I saw this person going like just, I don't know how fast they were going, but they're coming up on me so fast that I had to hit the gas to maneuver, and she still hit me. She rear-ended me. I don't know what was going on with her, that made her do that. I was going 65 also, and she hit me hard. So, there's a reason why we have a rear view mirror, but our focus is not the rear view mirror. Our focus is what's in front of us, and to a certain extent to the sides. And sometimes when a person's had a negative life experience, it's almost as if that experience consumes us. It's almost like that colors everything that you do or are going forward. A lot of people use hypnosis for dealing with addiction, and it can be very helpful. I don't say that it's a cure for addiction or it's the only thing one should use. It can be part of a whole protocol helping someone overcome that. But there's a tendency, to just kind of define yourself that I am now this broken person, and gosh, I'll put a lot of Band-Aids and glue on it, and I'll limp along in life, but I'm still broken. And there's the ability for us to find again the value, the strength, the fact that we're here alive. We have a purpose. And sometimes it's, we can't easily define it. My purpose is to become the president of the United States or something like that. But I'm here, and I have a right to be here. I have a right to not only take up space, but I have a right to shine. I have a right to, it's like the fact that you're shining bright doesn't take away from my ability to shine bright, or I don't have to dim my light to accommodate your prejudices or concerns or so forth. So again, it's we have these incredible human brains, human bodies, and to be able to integrate it all and to have it come to a place where we're feeling grateful to be alive and to express ourselves fully, to me is really at the heart of the whole life experience.
The major takeaway today is how everything we say to ourselves makes an impact. And our subconscious, in my view, it's kind of dumb. It doesn't really know the difference between good and bad. but it does want to protect you and support you. So it will do anything it needs to do that. So watching the way we speak, what we say to each other, I never say the word but anymore. I pretty much abolished it because it's a negative. Like you could say, Dennis, that white shirt looks great, but it would look better with a tie. It's like and you know what? I took that lesson from kids. They don't say but. They'll say, I went to the candy store and they had chocolate and they had Skittles and they had this and that and this. And I was like, you know what? And use the word and in place of but. Just a more positive outcome. This is just scraping the surface of what you offer and how you understand how the mind works and how you can support somebody. How do we find you?
My website is unconsciousedge.com. On the website, you'll have my email address and my phone number. And I do sessions over Zoom. I also do in-person sessions. Both can be as effective. So again, unconsciousedge.com.
Yeah. It starts there. Have a conversation. I can tell everybody wholeheartedly, hypnosis was a game changer for me. That was my wake up to what's going on up in our head and how everything we say can affect us, whether we realize it or not, and how things from our past, insignificant as they may be, can affect us. But that's why we're stuck, many of us. Dennis, great having you on here. Really appreciate it.
I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity to express a little bit.
Yeah, love the insight and looking forward next time we get together.
Okay, fantastic.
We'll be right back.
All right.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.